Hi, I'm Pete Cilella,
Hi, I'm Sarah Bolger. I play Andrea in our movie Descendant.
and I am the writer-director of Descendant. It's about a young couple expecting, their first child and the anxiety of impending fatherhood, and it's framed in an alien abduction story. I started writing it in March of 2020, right when the world shut down, and I'd had a movie fall apart right before that, and I was kind of starting to spin out. I was taking care of, my two young kids. My wife continued to work, thankfully. And I was in a really dark place, and this kind of came out of it. I've always wanted to do an alien abduction story, but the anxiety angle and the depression that I explored through the movie came from that, and it was the writing of the script that really lifted me out of that, and therapy. Therapy was great.
I play Andrea. I play a woman who I think her whole life has believed that she's taken great pride from her work, from her life, from the love that she has with her husband Sean. And I think this movie comes at a time where there's a great pivot in her life. She's pregnant with their first child, and Sean is grappling with where his reality begins to blur into his paranoia. And Andrea is firmly cemented in her reality. She's dealing with a difficult pregnancy. She's dealing with now a husband that she fears may flee. And we're seeing her at a moment where she wants to be most strong and is maybe flailing.
It was, a reflection of my relationship with my wife, but then, as we progressed in getting the film made, and we were leading up to production, about a month before, I reached out to Sarah and I said, I feel like Andrea's not coming through as much as I want her to. What would you do differently? And so she's one of the smartest, most professional actors I've ever worked with, and she gave me notes, and I took those notes and I rewrote stuff because it was really important for her voice to come through, even though, because it's from, the father's perspective, right? And so it's all going to be through that lens, but if her perspective doesn't come through, then the movie falls flat, and I wanted that. And I wanted her to have agency over that and influence on that character. And so the collaboration was really, she brought this character to life.
It was genuinely such a wonderful experience because it's, I think, the first time in my life in like 28 years of being an actress where I felt like I had the ear of someone who really wanted to know my opinion on the script and really cared to know how I felt about Andrea. And we got to know each other so much better within the process of Zooms about this story, to the point where we got on set and I swear to you, there was no question marks on the day. We were so cemented in the people we wanted to portray and the story we wanted to tell. It was a very joyous experience. I'm very grateful for Peter and this movie, because I think we really got to tell a story about truth in a sort of fantastical way.
It's all about loss of control and the unknown, right? And, life on other planets is a great unknown, and as a kid, I'm an 80s kid, and I grew up seeing that book Communion in grocery stores all the time, and like at the checkout. The image of the gray, and I was just always fascinated with alien abduction stories. I grew up on Twilight Zone episodes, and I love those stories that are really, really grounded in human drama. But then something happens that just throws it off. And I feel like that uncertainty, that unknown with an alien abduction story goes very well with all the things that we're uncertain of in the world and all of the unknowns that we're anxious about. And so they just kind of, it's weird, it worked, yeah.
I remember when I read the script thinking that this idea that the story is about life, but also like this creation of life and the life we don't understand, and there's this like beauty to it, that it's in the formative moments on camera where they're thinking, oh, we're going to bring a child into this world, and then there's this man who feels like he's being taken to another life, another creation. It's this like beautiful metaphor, and such a wonderful story. Perspective I was able to give to Pete and that he allowed me share was just of the interior thoughts of what it means to be in a situation where your husband is feeling like they're going to leave, because it's not about whether Andrea believes what he's gone through. It's not about whether or not she knows he's been through struggles in his life. She understands him fundamentally. But this is a new version of him that she's seeing. And those moments are frightening. And those moments can cause her to maybe take a step back. And it's this woman in this tug and this push and pull of, I want to be present. I want to save you. I want to save our marriage. But I need to save me too. And it's that internal struggle that is why Andrea was so goddamn fun to play.
No, and I think the movie's very much about control and loss of control, and also and the things we do to try and regain that control, and they're often misguided. And I think it's funny, you talk to couples sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, we're pregnant," and it's like, well, we really aren't. But as a husband, you do feel helpless because men tend to be fixers, and like when things spin out of control, it's like, well, there's a fix for that. There's always a fix. But when there's things that enter your life that you can't fix, it's like it's really hard to deal with. And then also, what happens in a relationship when two people are spinning out at the same time? Two people are at their lowest, and two people that love each other. And how do you get through that together? And at the end of the day, it's just showing up for each other.
And how do you fix an alien abduction?
How do you fix an alien abduction?
I don't know if you can fix it. It happens or it doesn't.